Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Minecraft Myth Busting. In this episode we are going to investigate the luck and bad luck effects, as many of you have been asking me what it is that they do in survival Minecraft. Well, first of all I should point out there is only a luck potion. However, the effect that is given to the player by drinking the luck potion also has a counterpart effect, which is bad luck, and these status effects are said to affect the generic luck attribute in some way. So according to the wiki, the luck attribute will affect the drops that we get from mobs, from fishing, and also the quality of loot found in dungeon chests and the like. And of course, I have to mention it, there's actually no way to get a luck potion in survival at the moment, so these could be considered just map makers' tools. So we're going to start off our investigation with a very simple test just to give us a clear indication as to if the luck or the bad luck effect is actually having any effect on one of these three activities. Now I've already done a little bit myself. I'll tell you that the fishing and the mobs one is yet to yield any results, but I really need to just do that a little bit more. However, with the chests, we've got a clear indication that the luck and the unluck, as the game calls it, or bad luck, will actually affect the loot generated in a chest. So we need to look at these two command blocks here, because we've got one that's going to give us luck level 201, because 0 is level 1, and unluck 201 over on this side. So what we can do with this test is just give ourselves like the luck. We can spawn in a mob and then we can hit it with our swords and have a look and see if we're more likely to get wither skulls or different types of loot depending on what mobs I spawn in. And so far, as I said, haven't really seen anything, haven't seen too much with the fishing either, but the one test that is showing some promise is the one with the chest over here. Now I've got to say, big thanks to my buddy Skyliner W. I don't know if he's actually watching this video or not, but this command is extremely useful as it summons in a chest, which I've opened in game mode free, or should I say I've tried to open because it wouldn't let me because this hasn't had its loot generated yet. So if we look at the command, we're setting a block, it's a chest, and we're defining the loot table as the same one as a dungeon that you might find in the world with like a zombie spawner. So then when we open it, it's going to generate the loot. And what I've experienced is with the unluck one, we don't have either at the moment, you often find there's a lack of items, very unlikely to see any good enchantments or golden apples. Speaking of which, of course, Sod's Law, while you're recording, one does pop up, and these aren't the best of examples, but I did do this a fair bit and get a good idea of what it's like. Efficiency 4 in that book, maybe not then. But overall, I'd definitely say you could feel the difference. So what we're going to do now is get rid of that effect, and then try the luck one. Now what I found with this is that you get tons more items and you'd get really good enchantments. I got Looting Free, I got Frostwalker 2, and a few other books that were good as well. You know, straight away a golden apple, although we got that with the unluck as well. Another one, I even got a notch apple as well. So in my rough testing it seemed like this was making a big difference. But even now you can see it's so varied what you get. It is quite difficult to determine if it's actually making an effect or not. So having discussed this with a few other Minecrafters, it turns out that the wiki contradicts itself. It both states that the only thing that it affects is fishing, and it also states that it affects fishing, mobs, and chest loot. Now it can affect chest loot, however not the way it works in regular survival Minecraft. When a chest is generated, it's not going to be affected by luck. However, if you're a map maker, you can use commands, you can set up a chest to have luck affect it. So when I was opening these chests, I was basically seeing what I wanted to see. If there wasn't a lot of items and there was some rotted flesh, I would say that's because of the unluck. And then if there was a notch apple in there, I would say that's because we were using luck. So I was sort of seeing what I wanted to see there, and it turns out it's not going to affect that in survival. It is not going to affect mob drops in survival, and the one thing that it will affect is fishing, and that's the one thing that I hate doing. So now what we've got to do is set up some sort of test where we can fish for long amounts of time, perhaps using some sort of automated farm, and then we'll be able to suss out how much of a difference this makes. So we are now in the world download for Pandas automated fishing farm, and I've got some good news. This works in Minecraft 1.9, and if you're interested in checking that out, I'll put a link to his video in the description box down below. So I'm pleased that this thing works, but I'm also a little bit annoyed because I've forgotten just how slow fishing is. It's taken a long time to do a very small test. It's been about half an hour of AFK testing, and that's all that we've got to show for it. So this sort of farm and the pace that it runs at really is a sort of overnight AFKing job. And my plan was to hop on here to do a quick test, and then to do another one where we had luck level 200 and one with unluck level 200, just so we could sort of show off that it is actually affecting the fishing and making a difference. But at this point, with the research that I've done, I'm fairly confident that this is going to affect it. So now what I want to do is try and do a test that's going to stretch on for about 8 hours, so we can get a lot more loot, and then we can do a fair comparison to when we do this with luck and with unluck. However, I'm of course going to do those tests with level 1 luck and level 1 unluck. Now I'm hoping at some point in the future they do plan on adding luck to survival Minecraft. They've already added the potion to the creative inventory, otherwise this testing might just be in vain, but we're going to do it anyway. We're going to find out the difference, so I'm hoping after all of those AFK tests have been done we'll have some decent results to compare. But for me, right now it's going to be a long time before I next record, as we're going to be doing a lot of fishing. So the testing is over, and we're going to tally up the results in a moment, but I just wanted to walk you through what's happened. So the first test that I did failed miserably, because I think I stood here in game mode 1 for a while, and it meant I was picking up all of the fishing rods that would get shot out at the player. So my first test failed miserably, and then we changed it so that the world would always be raining, which would increase the productivity of our fishing, as well as putting a glass block above the water so the sunlight directly hits the water. Those two things make fishing a little bit more productive. So we've done 3 tests in total. All of them lasted for 6 hours. This one right here we did with luck on. And I do want to point out that all of the fishing rods had the same enchantments. You can see a Luck of the Sea free, Lure free, and Unbreaking free. Now I know some of you are going to say that this will affect the results, and it will, but all of our tests were done with this, so they're all on the same level playing field. So we'll be able to see the difference with luck from unluck, which we also did 6 hours on, and then we got 6 hours of just normal fishing, so we can get a baseline. So we've got loads of these chests here filled up with loot, and we're going to tally it all up and see what difference it made. So I had to do another test, another 6-hour test. Do you want to know why? Because when I tallied up the contents of the chest, something very odd appeared. So I'm going to put the results on the screen, and pay attention first of all to the total numbers down at the bottom. Now the first one, 505, was from our first normal test. The second one is from when we had luck, and we had over 1,000. So I thought, well, that's interesting, luck doubles it. But then unluck had 968, which may suggest that that is also doubling the average amount that you get. So in case my first test was incorrect, I went back, did it again, and we got 509, which was really strange. Now I've broken down the results a little bit further, and I can see where luck and unluck is influencing what you get from, you know, fishing. But there's this strange anomaly where luck and unluck for some reason seem to double the amount of items that you get when you're fishing, and I can't help but think this is a sort of oversight in the code where they've added in how luck and unluck manipulates the results, and there's some sort of calculation error there, meaning that both of them double up the amount of fishing in total. Now I can't do these tests over and over again forever. I have a certain amount of time, and I've already put hours and hours into testing. But anyway, let's have a look at these results and break them down a little bit further. In the numbers I just showed you, there were 3 color-coded categories, and these are for the 3 types of things that you can get from fishing. Obviously you got fish, and the other 2 are treasure and junk. Now what we're looking at are the total amounts broken down into categories, and with this you can see something that's clearly different, and that's the distribution of treasure and junk between the luck and the unluck test. Now if we put this into percentages, it becomes a lot more clearer. Now we've only done 4 tests, so these numbers are a little bit vague, not entirely accurate, but they clearly demonstrate something that's happening here. So if we look at fish, across the board it's between 84 and 85% of the time you're going to get fish. But then when it comes to the treasure and junk distribution, on the normal tests it's between 11 and 12% for treasure, and then between 3 and 4 for junk. But if we look at the luck test, you'll see it's 13.6% and junk is only 2.1%. And then on the unluck test it's 10.3% and 5.5 for junk. So it seems like what the luck and the unluck are doing are taking your chances of getting treasure and junk, and then if it's luck it favours it more towards treasure, and if it's unluck it sways more towards junk. So we still have one more thing left to do, and that's to look at the individual items that we got that were enchanted. So on the right side we've got unluck, and on the left we have luck. And I've been eyeballing this and sort of going through it, and I really think there's not much of a difference, and you're probably going to agree with me. So the first thing that we're going to eyeball is the durability of all of these items here. Very down, low, and in the red areas, and you can see for both sides they're roughly around the same. Now if we look at the enchantments, you generally get some pretty good enchantments. You may have noticed a couple of mendings there as I'm going over, and remember that's the unluck side, and I've got a feeling it doesn't affect these at all, because on the opposite side, again, some mendings popping up, very similar level of enchantments coming through. Same thing goes for the books as well. Just I'm going to put my mouse over these so you can see them all. There was a mending book there. I do believe there's 2 mending books on the unluck side, and there's just the one on the luck side. And again, very similar sort of level of enchantments here. So I think it's not affecting the quality of the enchantments. And on the fishing rods, by the way, you quite often see mending. In fact, more often than not, there's mending on it, which is pretty cool. Best thing to have in 1.9 would be a fishing farm with mending on, right? You can just infinitely get this loot as fishing gives you XP, which is a really cool tip actually for 1.9. And again, over on this side you can see really good enchantments on the bows, rods. So that's going to be it from me this episode of Minecraft Myth Busting. If you've enjoyed it, please do leave a like, and I surely do hope you have enjoyed it because I put an insane amount of time into the testing, but totally worth it because we got some very interesting results. And if you're new to the channel, of course, be sure to subscribe and check out the Myth Busting playlist if you haven't done already. Link is in the description box. Anyway, that's it from me. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.